You are Locked On Celtics Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Boston, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Well, here we go. Celtics won their home opener, you may recall, with a blowout victory against the Knicks Tuesday night at TD Garden. Celtics now 2-0 after winning their first road game of the season, again winning with another blowout. Celtics take care of business against the Wizards in D.C. Thursday night. Hashtag businesslike. Welcome in, everyone. Locked On Celtics Postcast. I'm Steve Lennox, longtime play-by-play announcer. Once interviewed Don Nelson as he knocked down and knocked back a cold one. Who's Don Nelson, you might be asking? Well, he played for the Celtics back in the 1960s and 1970s, so you can Google him. The man did win 5 rings with the Celtics as a player. You are locked on with the Locked On Celtics Postcast, providing reaction, and we want your reaction as well to every Celtics game on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. And you know, we are also available on the Locked On Celtics podcast feed. The podcast available wherever you get your podcasts. With our latest Locked On Celtics Postcast, we are going to discuss the Celtics simply taking care of business against the Wizards, a team that might be better in the second half of the season. We'll see. That could happen. But this is going to happen a lot for the Celtics. Big second half, first 2 games of the season, not even competitive in the fourth quarter. And it's obviously impressive, but I'm wondering right now, when is the first time the Celtics are actually going to be involved in a close game in the closing minutes of regulation? Maybe it comes back home Monday night against the Milwaukee Bucks. We do want to hear from you, our everydayers, our first-timers. Join the conversation watching live on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel. You know what to do. Hit the comment button and join the Celtics conversation. Hey, if you'd like, give us one random thought on Thursday night's road victory against the Wizards. Celtics, again, first road win of the season. It can be anything. You can also hit me up on the X with a follow at Lennox on Hoops. Questions, comments, concerns, always welcome. This episode of the Locked On Celtics Postcast brought to you by FanDuel. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. Place your first $5 bet, and you are going to get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. Visit FanDuel.com to get yourself started. So the Celtics win by 20, 122-120. And you can say the Wizards stuck around for a while. It wasn't for a full 48 minutes. But the Celtics just simply, again, businesslike, on the road. Plenty of road games. We'll touch on that again to open up the season. This road trip, 2 games, D.C. and Detroit. Play the Pistons on Saturday in Detroit. Should go home 3-0 to face the Bucks on Monday night at TD Garden. But for the Celtics, you know, Derek White, 29 threes in the victory against the Knicks on Monday. 29. That tied an NBA single-game record, right? Matched the Milwaukee Bucks from a few years ago. So Derek White opens up the game with a 3. Jordan Poole, red hot to open up. Poole was terrific. Scored the first 5 for the Wizards. White had 5 of the first 7 for the Celtics. Wizards did go on a 12-0 run in the first quarter, went up 19-12. Poole 17 of Washington's first 27. Poole, 6th year in the NBA, 2nd year now with the Washington Wizards, in case you were wondering. Played 2 years at Michigan. Pritchard in the first quarter. Came off a screen from Al Horford, knocked down a 3. Knocked down the 3 coming off the dribble and that screen. That 3 from Pritchard came with just under 4 minutes to go. Celtics at that point down 24-20. And then, you know, young team versus a team that is coming off an NBA championship, 18th in franchise history. Celtics close out the first quarter, 13-8 run, up a point, 33-32. Got to the line a lot. And I think really the last 90 seconds, 2 minutes, ended up with 9 free throws for the first quarter. Poole had 5 threes and 17 in the first quarter. Slowed down the rest of the way. Slowed down. Tatum, 14. White, 10 in the first quarter. Celtics, 11 threes Tuesday night in the first quarter against the Knicks. That set the stage. 5 of 9. High percentage. Above 50%. Simple math, right? So knocking down 5 threes in the first quarter. Second quarter, Poole knocked down a 3. Holiday opened up with a 3 for the Celtics. Poole then hit a 3 to give him 20. And the Wizards went up at that point 51-49. Tatum against the rookie Alex Sarr. And Sarr's going to be a good player. You can tell that. Just 19 years old. But Tatum hey, it's on social media. It's out there already. The play of the first half, maybe, one of the highlights of the game. There's another one that I'll touch on here in the moment from the first half. But Tatum, the dribble, kind of playing with the rookie a little bit, out on the perimeter, created a little space for himself, boom, knocked down the three-pointer. That was beautiful. Veteran against the rookie, took him to school. And I will do this. I did it when we did it during the Locked On Red Sox postcast. I always, when I was, when I would talk about the Celtics or the Red Sox announcers, I'd say, hey, first NESN reference of the night. First NBC Boston reference of the night when Tatum knocked down that shot. Drew Carter said, "Welcome to the league, Rook." So that's my first NBC Boston reference. There'll be a couple in segment number 2 with Brian Scalabrine. You may call him Scal. Well, I'll call him Scal, right? And then Tatum tried to do the same thing from the right wing, did not knock down the shot. But how about Jaylen Brown late in the second quarter? Took the ball, had a burst of steam, left side of the foul line, got into the paint, contact, hit a beautiful basket right at the rim. At that point, Celtics up 62-54. Brown had another finish in transition to give him 11. Celtics 10-1 run, up by 10 at the half, took care of business the rest of the way. Tatum 20 at the half, White 13, Brown 11. And I won't do this every single game going through each quarter, but these are sort of the key moments for me in the first half, because in the second half, they just opened it up. 9-2 start to go up by 15, 71-56. 19-3 run at that point, going back to the finish, back to the final minutes of the second quarter. And that's what the Celtics are going to do. And I'll give numbers of the night. What they've done through 3 quarters over the first 2 games has been impressive. It really has been. Again, with us as part of the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, we appreciate you joining us. And I'll take this moment right now as we close out our first segment. Just a couple of people, and the folks at Locked On want me to continue to say it. John Corrales goes nowhere. So as we sort of get to know each other and everything, John's not going anywhere. John is continuing to cover the Celtics the way he does. His postcast or his Locked On Celtics YouTube will go up. His podcast continues as well. But from opening night, from my guy Sam, who helps me out, he's full-time at Locked On. He's helped me get on board with Locked On Sports Boston and the YouTube channel. If you're with us again for Game 2, thank you. But if you were with us in Game 1 and you threw comments out there or anything, I really do appreciate it. The downloads, it sort of kills me a little bit, just a little bit, because I love baseball. I love basketball too. It's 1-1A. But understanding, as I say once in a while, a baseball guy, understanding it's football, it's the NBA, it's the NFL, it's the NBA, then it's MLB, a far third now in what we have, and that's fine. So I know the audience is going to be bigger. How many downloads we had with the podcast, how many views we had with the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, how many people shared thoughts on episode number 1 from Tuesday night and the opening night victory and raising the 18th championship banner in franchise history to the rafters at TD Garden. The comments from our comment section, I'm going to get to them here in just a moment. Thank you. This is a build. We're building this. And I forget who it was, and I will apologize, but when they said, hey, you called out TNT for going to commercial during the banner, the raising of the banner, and I sort of got street cred there, or style points, or whatever you want to call it, all the comments, and you can throw, hey, do this better. Hey, can you do this? I'll take them. Absolutely. Let's hit some of those comments right now because we're already in there. Pascal is joining us. It's going to be a surprise when the Celtics lose. Second unit, Pascal, you hit this is what we're going to get into it. Second unit can keep up with most teams. Pascal also adding, and they still don't have KP. Yeah, Kristaps Porzingis. Drew Carter did mention, you're looking at December, could be around Christmas time. I'm okay with it being into January. And earlier in the week when I was on with John Corrales, I said, hey, history states that when Porzingis comes back from an injury, he knows how to come back from an injury. He's got experience there. But when he does come back, I don't really, it could happen very easily. But when he's back, he's back. We'll see how that works out. I mean, he did miss time last year, recovery games, stuff like that. Mike's checking in. Great win by the Celtics. Wizard played way more physical than the Knicks. Once the Celtics adjusted at halftime, it was game over. Mike, spot on, 100%. And you were just waiting for it, right? Happened at the end of the second quarter. They said, you know what? You want to take some time off in the fourth quarter? I mean, let's go back. Hey, I already know. Some people, I got a little credit of going back to the 1980s in the comments section, both during and after the show from Tuesday. I go back to the 80s. So think about those Celtics teams. They would challenge them. There's a theme, and I won't kill that theme, and I won't go to it every single Locked On Celtics postcast, but we can go back to a lot of us can go back to the 1980s and those Celtics teams. They challenge themselves each game. Hey, who's going to do this? Who's going to do this? Who's going to lead tonight? All these different things. Hey, we don't want to play the fourth quarter. Whatever coach it was, Chris Ford, Casey Jones. Casey Jones was one of my favorite coaches. I don't go that far back to when he was a player, but I love Casey Jones on the sideline in the 80s for the Boston Celtics. But, the Celtics, the Lakers, how many of the stars, how many of the top players, the top scorers were done after three? And you can go. The Bulls. They were like that when they won 3 in a row, 2 separate occasions. In recent years, Steph Curry and the Warriors were certainly like that. And this Celtics team, 24-25 regular season, when are they going to lose for the first time? I'm absolutely looking forward to Monday night. And Drew Carter and Brian Scalabrine, again, NBC Boston reference. And I really, it's the first time I've watched beginning to end with Drew Carter and Scalabrine. And they do a terrific job. They get the basketball in there. They go off track every once in a while. That's what a broadcast crew is going to do. They go, they have those conversations. And I like them. But late, I think it was in the fourth quarter at some point, talking about the Bucks. Hey, they've been impressive. Damian Lillard. Lillard and Giannis are coming to town Monday. That's appointment television, right? That's appointment television for us. I'll be there because I want to talk to you about it. You're there because you're bigger fans than I am. But that's what it's going to be this year. You're likely 3-0 going into that game. The Pistons are probably going to be similar. I mean, you're talking about a Wizards team last year that won 15 games. You go from there, but a nice victory. And again, they're going to take the court every night right now. And that's what you want. Just go out and win. You're going to win. We know 60 wins. Gave the FanDuel odds the other day during game 1 with the live read. It's going to be there. No stat zone is what we're going to call it for segment number 2. Random thoughts. Going to do my best to give no stats. We'll hit the box score, talk about different things. Brown, birthday, 28th birthday, led the team in scoring. Tatum, second straight double-double to open up the season. But random thoughts, and I'm going to do my best. No stats, as we talked about the Celtics' victory against the Wizards in D.C. to improve to 2-0 on the season. That is next. Locked On Celtics postcast. You are locked on. So hitting the show and realizing here for the first time that I did not put my live reads up for some reason or another. But I'm going to tell you, there should be a lower third banner right there. There's not. If there was and I had done my job the right way, it would be for Game Time. Locked On Celtics postcast, Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day, presented by Game Time. Game Time has tickets for all events, and that includes concerts and shows that you might be wanting to take in over the next couple of months. So, Game Time, concerts, shows, not just sporting events. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks. Game Time Picks, what's that, you may be asking? Well, with Game Time Picks, simply makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks is able to filter out the fluff to show you only the incredible deals that are available on great seats, so you do not have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. Game Time app also allows for seat views before you buy. Yes, you get a panoramic view from the seat you're looking to purchase. You can take a look at that before you hit that purchase button. The lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, a lot more with Game Time. You can customize your spot and put this together with Game Time. Game Time, again, with Game Time, you get the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time is going to credit you 110% of the difference. With Game Time, you are able to take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create your account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms to apply. Again, create your account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? You know what time it is. Yes, you do. It's game time. All right, before we get into some random thoughts on the Celtics blowout victory, winning by 20 over the Wizards Thursday night to improve to 2-0 on the season. And Pascal, I think, mentioned it. Wizards, their home opener, their season opener, right? Watching basketball the last couple of nights, watching Bronny James maybe and Dad LeBron play together Tuesday night against Minnesota at home in Los Angeles, watching the Celtics raise the banner into the rafters. So spectators are now playing for the first time. Hey, there's some pieces there. Brian Scalabrine, and there was, I'll get to this one in just a moment, but Scalabrine basically said, Drew Carter said, hey, what do you think about this team? There are pieces there. And I'll get more into that in a moment. Do want to acknowledge our everydayers and for making the Locked On Celtics postcast and Locked On Celtics with John Corrales, their first listen every day. Celtics victorious at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Again, 2-0 on the season. On to Detroit, play the Pistons Saturday night. And again, should be 3-0 going into Monday's home matchup against the Milwaukee Bucks. Hit the comment section here real quick before I get in a couple of notes. Mike back at it. Thank you. I know it's only the second game, but Derek White has been fantastic. And he is my player of the game. Appreciate that. Mike. Pascal chiming in, sharing. Is Tatum on a mission to win MVP? You can take the chip on Tatum's shoulder, and whatever we think it is, I think it's multiplied by 5 to 10. I mean, it's there. And it's just something he's going to use as fuel for this season. Slighted, whatever you want to call it. He'll certainly be, this might be different. I'll admit right now, don't know where he's finished top 3 in the last couple of years. I can look that up easily enough and have that for the future. Top 3, top 5, top 10. Don't have that off the top of my head. But, go for it. You know what? And I think this team's going to be, as the season goes on, I think this Celtics team is going to the narrative from the national people is going to change. Reggie Miller on TNT with Kevin Harlan Tuesday night sort of hit on the big spots with the Celtics about what this season is. But it's one thing to observe it and think that this is what they're going to do. But from the offseason to the preseason and going international with their trip to open up the preseason to the first 2 games of the regular season, they're playing like a championship team. Thursday night, was thinking about it. Again, we sort of knew, okay, Wizards are hanging around a little bit. You don't like when teams hang around, but you knew the Celtics run was coming, right? And the Celtics did beat the Wizards, but in some of these games, it's going to just simply be a matter of, and they're not all going to be blowouts. They're not. We know that. We're realistic. We're optimistic, but we're realistic. They're not all going to be blowouts. There's going to be a young, Houston could, there are a lot of teams that are going to come in and challenge. They're going to get a team's best just early on in the season. They didn't get the Knicks' best. The Wizards, the Celtics beat them. To make my point, finish the point, the Celtics won. And they won, Drew Carter even may have said it on the television broadcast. This wasn't that close, and it was a 20-point blowout win. They led by 32. Trailed by 8 in the first quarter, won by up by 32 in the second half. But the Wizards there were times that you just, when the Celtics went on runs and they were burning all their timeouts, it's just a young team over there, and they're learning themselves. Again, I don't want to go down the cliche road, but it's sort of what it was. But, Brian Scalabrine, again, NBC Boston references. I've had a bunch here. Usually you do a couple. I've had a bunch already. But, again, first time from opening jump to the final buzzer, listening to Drew Carter and Brian Scalabrine call a game. And Scalabrine at one point saying, there was a play that was made, and he just said, "I love the skill level around the league right now." And I think the Celtics upped that for everybody else. I think the Warriors did that over the years. I think LeBron and the Cavaliers, the Spurs during their winning years did that. They elevated other teams. But that was telling. That was an interesting observation. And I do like Scalabrine a lot. I listen to him on Sirius XM on the morning show. I think he's terrific. I really do. One more from Scalabrine and Drew Carter, because I thought this was interesting. They had a reference in there of capture the flag. Capture the flag, what are they talking about? And a moment or two went by, and they finally explained it's not capture the game flag that you may have played in gym class many, many years ago, like I did. Again, I like to date myself every once in a while, and I'm fine with that. Capture the flag is basically teams giving up on this season completely, and the Wizards might have some trade chips come deadline. Does Kuzma go somewhere else? Valanciunas? But capture the flag is basically teams packing it in already, a couple of games, 1 or 2 games into the NBA season, to have a shot at the number 1 overall pick next June, and that's Cooper Flagg, who is at Duke. So that's what they're calling capture the flag for the season. We'll see who ends up capturing the flag. Was it genius? I don't know. It was smarter than something I could come up with, so I borderline call it genius from Drew Carter and Brian Scalabrine. This was an interesting one. They came back from a break on the NBC Boston broadcast, and they sort of unveiled the court for TD Garden and other NBA arenas for the upcoming NBA Cup. I'm sort of indifferent to it. It's fine. It appeared in looking at it for the first time. They showed the Wizards court too. Basically, the biggest thing I can say there is when you watch the games that are involved with the NBA Cup, and they even referenced it as well, that, the NBA, they want you to understand that when that court's on there, that, hey, this is an NBA Cup game as we get closer to December. I mean, we're not even into November yet. But at least the courts in the past, I mean, I needed observation the next day. My eyes were bleeding or something. It was just, they were awful in my view. These are, I like the Celtics one. I'll say that. I know I've given some random thoughts here. Again, if you're with us on the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, random thought which is what I'm going to give here. I've given you some random thoughts here as well. We'll hit box score. Hey, if you happen to see Jaylen Brown on Friday, wish him a belated birthday. Jaylen Brown, again, led the way in points for the Celtics Thursday night, turning 28 years old. It's time now to call Jaylen Brown truly a veteran of the NBA. First glimpse, but I was impressed with Wizards rookie Alex Sarr, just 19 years old, does not turn 20 until next April. And, next time the Celtics play, it's you write this down and, hey, how is Sarr improved between now and the next time the Wizards and Celtics play? I'm sure he'll make some pretty good strides. I like this. I like when the officials, and they're on camera, identify the players by name when explaining the results of a call that went to replay, went to review. 2 games in, Celtics are 2-0. I'm really wondering right now who is going to lead the Celtics in charges this season. Pritchard tried to take one, was called for a block. Okay. I think the big man as well tried to take one, was called for a foul, I think, on a block. Going to hit segment number 3 here in just a moment. We're going to do numbers of the night, and we'll go into the box score as well, as the Celtics win by 20, 122-120 over the Wizards to improve to 2-0 on the season. Maybe this is a little Johnny self-promotion. I'm hosting Locked On Red Sox this week and next for Gabby Hurlbut, who recently got married, so she's taking a little time off. So I'm hosting Locked On Red Sox YouTube channel, Locked On Red Sox podcast feed. And I did an interview earlier in the day on Thursday that if you're a Red Sox fan, it's not player related, but it's Red Sox history related. I interviewed Pam Ken. It's a long interview, but if you like the Red Sox and maybe you know the name Pam Ken, started with the Red Sox. She's wrapping up 25 years. She threw out a ceremonial first pitch at Fenway. I think it was the Friday of the final series against the Rays. So Pam joined me. Wonderful conversation. I'm not patting myself on the back. If you're interested in the Red Sox at all, the history, especially with the Netflix Red Sox documentary from 2004 right now airing and available on Netflix with a 3-part series, Pam has some terrific stories. So again, Johnny self-promotion, not patting myself on the back when I do things like this and I interview people like Pam Ken. It's more of them, less of me. Pam was outstanding. Before we hit the break, Mike Debate has you covered with Patriots coverage daily with the Locked On Patriots podcast. Cam Stewart has you covered with the Locked On Patriots postcast. Patriots trying to snap a 6-game losing streak this Sunday home in Foxborough against the Jets. And you know, John Corrales also on board. John, outstanding job with Locked On Celtics. Numbers of the night. Mr. Driscoll gave us his player of the game in Derek White. I like to, this is something I'm going to do, the guy off the bench. I tip my cap to the guy off the bench. That's next. Locked On Celtics postcast, talking about a Celtics 20-point blowout victory in D.C. against the Wizards. Locked On Celtics postcast, again, Locked On Sports Boston, your team every day, presented by Prize Picks. With Prize Picks, you're at the right place at the right time. With Prize Picks, Prize Picks is simply the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in award winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Sign up. $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive that $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNBA. $50 bonus instantly after you play a $5 lineup for the first time. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks. All right, they want me out in about 30 minutes. So road trip, off to a 2-0 start to the season. Pick up a victory, first road game of the season away from Boston. And as expected, we went no stat zone. I think we did a pretty good job. I'll pat myself on the back there. For segment number 2, gave some random thoughts. Yes, I did say that Jaylen Brown turned 28 and he did lead the team in scoring. So we get into numbers of the night here in just a moment. But the Celtics 20-point victory, 132 in their game 1 victory, 132 in the victory Tuesday night against the Knicks, and gave up 109. Ended up giving up 102 in the victory against the Wizards Thursday night in the first road win of the season. 2 games in a row. Celtics up 26, numbers of the night. Celtics up 26 after 3 in the season opener Tuesday night against New York. Celtics up 25 after 3 and Thursday night's win in Washington, D.C. Celtics 113 points through 3 quarters Tuesday night. 98 through 3 on Thursday night. This team's going to lead the league in scoring. I mean, just, 132 and 122 over the first 2 games. Off the bench, Pritchard. That's my guy. Tip of the cap tonight. Knocked down 5 threes, scored 15. Made a 3 in the fourth quarter to make it 90-68, then knocked down another 3 to make it 94-70. So Pritchard is the guy. Keita, believe I'm pronouncing that right. If I'm not, shame on me. The 7-footer. He's going to give you minutes, and he could possibly give you meaningful minutes over the course of the season. Sam Hauser, was going to mention this at the top, out, lower back injury, lower back stiffness, tightness, discomfort, missed the game. Dealt with a little bit in the preseason. Doesn't seem like it's alarming, doesn't seem like it's going to be anything serious, but was out of the lineup. Keta got some extra minutes there, and off the bench as well. Some of the new guys getting in on the mix as well. Tatum, again, second straight double-double, points, assists, double-double Tuesday against the Knicks, 25 points, 11 rebounds, led the team with 6 assists in the victory against Washington. The birthday boy, Jaylen Brown, led the way with 27. And Derek White knocked down 4 more threes, 17 threes total. And it's probably going to end up being the average out 17, anywhere between 16, 18 threes per game. But 29 and 17 in the first 2 games of the season. I told you Monday, I'm always going to look at this number. 30-plus assists in the victory against the Knicks. 21 assists, 14 turnovers. 3 with 1 team turnover on Tuesday. 14 turnovers, you want 5 to 6 less. You want 8 or 9 for a game. for a championship team. You know, again, you won by 20, so that may be nitpicking a little bit along the way. So Al Horford, looking at the box, 20 minutes, took just 2 shots, did not score, fine with that, 5 rebounds. And Horford's one of those guys, simple. Go get him, you know, see if he reaches double figures Saturday against the Detroit Pistons. But got his 20 minutes and pulled down a handful of rebounds, 4 on the defensive end, 5 total. So, again, Pritchard off the bench, tip of the cap, and the Celtics' second win of the season, game 2 of 82 for the regular season. What's on tap? Celtics in Detroit. Matchup against the Pistons on Saturday. Should be 3-0. Should be 3-0. If they're 2-1, that's okay. The world's not going to come to an end. The sky's not falling. But you look at the schedule coming up. And, again, you could very well be 3-0 going into Monday's matchup at home at TD Garden against the Bucks. And that's going to be it for home games for a little while, because then you're going back out on the road for 4 at Indiana. First back-to-back of the season is going to be in Charlotte. That's going to be next Friday, Saturday. So 2 in a row for the first time this season, and 2 in a row against the same opponent as well, as they'll be in Charlotte to take on the Hornets. And LaMelo Ball had a terrific first game of the season. Then they wrap that up in Atlanta on Monday, November 4th. And then the reason I'm giving a full look out at the schedule, that 4-game road trip. So you've got 6 of the first 8 on the road. And I tell you that to tell you this. After that, you come home. And that's one that's going to be circled on the calendar. Home, November 6th against, yes, Steph Curry. But the highlight there out on the billboard is the Celtics are home against Steve Kerr and the Warriors. We can tongue-in-cheek that all you want, but that's going to be an interesting one. It really is. As we get ready to say goodbye, a couple of more comments here. Let's get them. So Mike gave us, just going back here a little bit, Mike gave us White as his player of the game, I believe. Do I have it? Yes, I do. Just wanted to reiterate that one. Pritchard did great in the Jaylen Brown shoes. There you go. Pascal's going out there. Pritchard, 6th man of the year candidate this season. We'll see. Heck, you knock down 5 threes in a game, score 15 off the bench, and be in double figures more often than not. Then yeah, might be able to get into that conversation. Those are the storylines over the course of this NBA season for the Celtics. But again, off to a 2-0 start, as expected, right? Not here Saturday. I know that's not going to blow your mind or anything, but I will be back. There's just 2 games between now and the end of the calendar year that I'm eyeing that I am away from Locked On Celtics Postcast. The first is going to be Saturday. You'll live without me. We're looking at backups. We're looking for a 6-man. We'll see if we find one. It's not going to be Saturday. So I'll be back with you Monday. And I know we're all looking forward to that one. We are all looking forward to Bucks Celtics Monday night in Boston. Because that's really, as you look at the schedule, that's your first test of the season. Plain and simple. And that's fine. Hey, don't forget your favorite podcast, now a newsletter. Introducing Locked On Celtics Daily Newsletter, one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free right now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On NBA, Locked On Celtics newsletter. We close out Celtics victorious 122-102 against the Washington Wizards, and now 2-0 on the season. And again, we won't be with you on Saturday. Back at it with a Locked On Celtics postcast after Monday's home game against the Milwaukee Bucks. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and also after each game with the Locked On Sports Boston YouTube channel, as well as we go live within minutes of the final buzzer. Locked On Sports Boston, number one place to hang out immediately after every game. Tip of the cap to you for joining us. Hey, tell your friends about us. Word of mouth advertising is certainly appreciated along the way as well. Locked On Sports, your team, your Celtics every day.